So location of authority means this authority can be centralized. What do we mean by centralized? Authority responsibility for most supply related functions are assigned to a central organization. If a company have multiple offices across state or across country, if they would decide to make all the decisions centrally, right, one body mostly situated in headquarters of the company, if they would make all the decisions regarding purchasing, who would be the supplier, how much to buy from each suppliers, right, how they would deliver the products in different plants or different sites. If this decision is done by central organization, right, it is called centralized, right. So purchase expenditures, the authorities lie at corporate headquarters. Okay, so this is centralized. Just wait a minute now, think about what is the impact of centralized decision on purchasing and supply management. Do you think it is good idea to have centralized? It might be more time consuming. And why it is more time consuming? Why this point came to your mind? Because approvals have to go through central office, right? I would suggest everyone, if you take mic and speak, right? I'm anyways repeating the question, right? So that we can be, each question can be heard, right? So if there is a centralized office to give all the approvals, it can be time consuming, okay? Just take example of our fast food chains, right? Any burger house or any pizza house, okay? So many stores are located within one city, okay? Now if they are given an order of centralized purchasing, purchasing what? Purchasing breads, flour, right, different kind of meat or or other items, say sauce or tomatoes, if they are making on their own. If it has to be centralized, just imagine what would be its impact, right? Approval is one thing. Now based on this example, can you make out what would happen if we will go for centralized purchasing for such kind of sector? Yes. When goods required are known.
When goods required are known, we can go for central because there's no need of
No,
discussing it.
so goods required are known only. I know I need flour, I know I need tomatoes, I know I need potatoes, right? I know that. Still you think centralized purchasing is good idea? Now imagine, if we will talk about country like India, right? And this fast food chains, like, they are located all across India. If the centralized decision is that, the Tamil Nadu stores should also buy from this supplier and Haryana stores should also buy from this supplier. Now you can make points. Now you can think of points. What would happen to the centralized purchasing? Can you connect now what we are talking about? So additional cost will be incurred on what? Can you give the different?
Specifically on the transportation.
Yes, so transportation logistics costs are bound to increase.
And advantage of being centralized is like you can maintain the quality.
Maintain the
Like
quality.
say have franchise method, we can ensure there is same quality among all the branches. Again, if the branches are nearby, it is feasible.
Right. So transportation cost, point well taken, right? Quality I would say, whether centralized or decentralized, that is something cannot be compromised, right? I hope you have got the idea what we are talking.
Ma'am,
Yes.
one more point, like if it depends on capital expenditure and the commitment of that product. Like if the product is going to be used for multiple years and the capital expenditure is more, then it's better to go for centralized. On and as you said, like for flour and all that stuff for a pizza store, they are going to do purchases on daily basis and it's not a long time commitment. So a decentralized approach would be much better.
Exactly. It depends on whether we have repetitive buying of a product, what is the type of commodity or category we are talking about. So, one example I have given you, the food giant or food chain, right? Can we think about now automobile sector? Now, in automobile sector, if you see, their manufacturing plants are located all across country, but the sites will be very few, maybe 3, 4, 5 maximum, right? But they are located all across country. Okay, and now we have to, if we have to take centralized decision, right, it would be very difficult. We have already seen transportation is one. Okay, but whether all these 4 plants, right, are they making similar kind of vehicles, are they making similar kind of assemblies? Okay, that's what it depends on, the category or the product which we are producing or which we are processing. Okay, so we will see more points. So I hope you have understood what we mean by centralized. However, is this authority and responsibility of all the supply related functions are dispersed through the organization. This is called decentralized, where authority lies at divisional, business unit and site level. Okay, we will quickly see what are the advantages of centralized and disadvantages of centralized, and then if we would swap kind of things, that would be for decentralized. But let's see, we should not miss on any point. Okay, and you have to tell me whether you agree with that or not. Okay, if we will go for centralization, I have already given you 2 contexts. One is food chain, multiple sites, and another is auto, right? These 2 contexts are good enough, to keep in mind, right, to understand centralized and decentralized. If we will go by centralization, there will be good buying specialization, right? The centralized function, the section will be specialized in that. Consolidation of requirements. If I can consolidate the requirements, I can negotiate more with the supplier, my purchasing power would be good, right? More bargaining power, okay? I can get discounts, right? Volumes of purchase. Coordination of policies and procedures. Coordination, same policies, standard policies would be implemented, that would be ensured. Effective planning and research, right? Because this is centralized. I can go for common suppliers. It will ensure the standardization and quality, right? Proximity to major organizational decision makers. Okay, if these decisions are lying in the headquarters, right, there is a good proximity with the top leaders, like and to more advantage of to be closer to C-suites. Firm brand recognition and stature. So reporting line power similar to the presence in the headquarters. Strategic focus, right, again similar to that, if we are in the headquarters closer to the top management, we can focus on the value generation. And cost of purchasing is low. Cost of purchasing is low. Okay, we are not saying cost of sourcing is low. Okay, cost of purchasing means acquisition price, right? The price at which we are buying the product, that can be low, but supply chain cost, transportation cost, we are not talking about here. Okay, so be very careful. This is cost of purchasing. However, what is disadvantages of being centralized? Narrow specification, and job boredom, this is more of behavioral aspect. Lack of job flexibility, very stringent policies, procedures, corporate staff appears excessive. So tendency to minimize legitimate differences in requirements, right? Because each business units have very peculiar and specific requirements, right, which can be overseen. Lack of recognition of unique needs, right? Focus on corporate requirements, not on business unit strategic requirements. Okay, there can be, if we are focusing on strategic decision, we might forego or we might oversee the business unit strategic requirement. Even common suppliers behave differently in geographic and market segments. Distance from users, tendency to create organization silos. Customer segments require adaptability to unique situations. Top management not able to spend time on suppliers and lack of business unit focus. Okay. So, this is these are the disadvantages of being centralized. And if we will see decentralization, all the points we can see here, if one go for decentralization, definitely speed of response will be there, effective use of local sources, business unit autonomy, reporting line will be simplified, undivided authority will be there, right? And geographical, cultural, political, all this will be considered when it will be at the business unit level. Here disadvantages are also self-explanatory. One thing is that there is no critical mass in organization for visibility and effectiveness, right? So, very similar to the fact that if we will go for centralized purchasing, that function will be more prominent and visible in the kind of headquarters, right? This will not be there, right, because this is now segregated across the business units, right. So, reporting at low level in organization, there can be lack of standardization definitely, and cost of supply relatively high. So, we have seen advantages, disadvantages of centralized and decentralized, and which are almost weighing same number of advantages and disadvantages, right. So, what is the best method? If I want to take vote, one should go for centralized or decentralized. So, how many would go for centralized? Can you raise hands? What do you think now based on these advantages and disadvantages? How many of you would go for centralized purchasing? Raise your hands. Huh? Depends on the scenario. Okay, how many of you would go for decentralized purchasing? How many of you would go for decentralized purchasing? You have to make such decisions in future, isn't it? Yes. Okay. Right. If we can consolidate, then only we should go for centralized, right? So, just like you, same is the dilemma for companies. We have one more point. Yes. 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 So, in automobile, you want standardized parts, so that you would recommend centralized. Okay. But otherwise, no, it's very difficult to answer this question. Okay. Same is the dilemma for industry. Just like you and me, even industry is, not able to figure out which one to go for. That's why most of the companies or industries, they follow a hybrid model. So, mostly applicable, the most applicable model, hybrid model is center led structure, right. What is the perspective? Can we have a hybrid model or center led structure which can take the advantages of both types of structure, right? So what does this hybrid structure says? Authority and responsibility, they are shared between central supply organization and business units, okay? But now how to decide, how to share it, right? This is the major decision. Hybrid structure may lean more, right? No doubt, even if it is hybrid, we would say that it might be drifted more towards centralized for some of the industries or decentralized towards decentralized for other industry. It depends on the division of decision making authority, okay? So mostly strategic direction is centralized. What do we mean by strategic direction? The policies, procedures, norms, guidelines, okay, those should be centralized or center led. However, the execution is decentralized. It might depend on the spend also, like small spend items can be decentralized, the big tickets can come under centralized. So how we can go about is task on corporate basis, policies, procedures, common use items, right? Where that, as I've told you, there is a good negotiation power lies in the organization. Those items, those categories can be done centralized. Recruitment and training. You might have seen many organizations, they do the trainings in a centralized manner, okay. So such kind of activities can be centralized. However, the companies, the organization has to see each business unit or division as a profit center, okay. That would be a good idea, how they can generate profit, right? So with this perspective, so how they can create profitability by catering to their needs, right? By giving that business unit discretion about the purchasing activities, okay, that would solve the problems of business units, right? Giving discretion to the specific needs, might be influenced by the culture, the geographic issues of that particular site or location. So that should be left to the division or department, okay. So this is the organization structure of purchasing. It is very important for us to know, because it is easier said than done, like even if it is center led, right? We have to think about, right, we have to plan about, this is again a strategic exercise, right? Which of the items, categories should be centralized, when it should be centralized, and when things should be left at the division level. And this keeps on changing, okay. It's not, it has to be reviewed in a continuous manner, okay. For example, we are moving towards electric vehicles now, okay. So now what should be the movement, okay, how this transformation is taking place, how many units in any auto assembly would be converted to electric vehicles, what should be the supply, right? Right now at a site level, my supply requirements can be very low, right? So that would not be good to have like contract for very small volume, right? Can I consider that items, right? All the electronics components, can I consider that item as a center led approach? Okay. So as market, as economic conditions change, we need to revisit this decision again and again, and it is very important decision which comes under the governance structure, but it is influencing the purchasing decisions. So I hope you have got some clarity. A quick thing, for some of you who are interested in making this as the profession, again, many companies, they follow certain certification like Institute of Supply Management or Chartered Institute of Purchasing and Supply. In India, we have Indian Institute of Materials Management. Another example is Japan Materials. So these are the associations which deal in different aspects of purchasing, and being professionals in supply and purchasing, one must know this purchasing managers index. Have you heard of PMI? So, do you follow PMI in newspaper every day? You are aware of. Yeah. So, what is this purchasing managers index? This actually tells you the direction of economic trends in manufacturing. Okay. There are certain aspects which are covered. What are the new orders we have, any company has taken, what is the supply they have made, number of suppliers they are dealing with, what is the inventory they are carrying. Likewise, there are different factors. Based on that, you know, based on those factors, right, this institute has created some questionnaires, and it is sent to more than 400 500 companies, and then this index is created, which is lies between 0 to 100. If it is above 50, it represents the expansion of that sector, right? And if it is under 50, it is contraction. Manufacturing sector was under 50 during COVID, and service sector was above 50 during COVID. Okay. So, this 50 indicates no change. Okay. So, these are the indicators one must know about our purchasing and this thing. By the way, in India and many other countries, this IHS Markit Group, they continuously review this PMI and they display the PMI for purchasers managers index numbers. Okay. So, this is all about the governance structure, you can say, or the organization structure of purchasing and sourcing. Okay.